Conor said something about retiring. I know this is ridiculous. I have no idea where this is going to go. I have a feeling the media knows they can get some clickbait out of it, and there'll be a few articles. I record this podcast. It doesn't drop for 6 hours. By the time we edit it and release it, there's a 6-hour break. A lot can happen in 6 hours. Well, between telling you guys that, between talking to the Colonel, between talking to Kim Coates, I got a text here from Stone Cold Steve Austin that says, Conor retiring, ? And so I don't know what's happened in the last 50 minutes that I've been glued in here. The only thing Jacob has told me is that I missed the E in Maness, Maness. I don't know if is there anything going on this Conor thing? All right. So the only traction we've got to this, aside from me saying it now, I believe is that Jim Rome dropped it. Stone Cold must have been listening to Jim Rome. I don't know what in the hell's going on. I'll tell you guys right now, allow this to be breaking news regardless of what happens between now and the 6 hours before you hear it. He's not retiring. What publicity? Who cares? It worked. Here we are talking about it. Good job. Conor got us again. But Nate shut it right down saying, great, I am too. My work's done here. Nate wins that argument. Those Diaz boys, they stumble on to some genius sometime because it's not planned out. They're just being real. Did you guys remember when Nick Diaz no-showed a press conference against George St. Pierre? There Dana White flew out there, flew George in, got all the media there. They got the backdrop. Cost him a ton of money to put it on, and there's an empty seat sitting where Nick was supposed to be, and Dana calls Cesar Gracie from the press conference. Caesar answers, and he says, where's Nick? Dana was going to cut Nick from that fight. He was going to say, you're out, I'm putting somebody else in. If you're not going to do media, if you're not going to build it, if you're not going to show up to a press conference, how do I know you're going to show up to the weigh-in? How do I know you're going to show up to the fight? He made a good point. What ended up happening unintentionally was Nick not showing up to the press conference got 5 times more media than if Nick would have showed up to the press conference and lighted up a joint. He got more media for no showing the press conference than they ever could have hoped for. Every now and then these guys stumble onto something brilliant. I mean, Nate Diaz's response. Conor says, I'm going to retire. Nate says, I guess my work is done here. I'm retiring too. It's brilliant. It's done. It's done. Nobody needs to call Nate and go, what do you think about this? Conor's backing out. He's basically saying, I don't care. Go ahead. I'll see y'all UFC 200 against somebody. It shuts it off. It was just a brilliant thing. I love psychology. Had Stone Cold on last week. We did a whole episode on psychology that everybody should and for the most part did listen to. Nate psychology wins.